profesora de la Universidad de Vanderbilt, Nashville, Tennessee, directora del proyecto Voces de Nuestra América. Con ustedes, la doctora Velma Nuanco.
Professor at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee, and Director of the Voices from Our America Project, we bring you Dr. Velma Nuanco.
Good evening, everyone. All right, I could do the whole thing in Taco, but I don't have speaking school. I am humbled to have the opportunity to present and honor Dr. Velma Newton, a distinguished scholar, researcher, public servant, and woman whose spirit and accomplishments stand as a model for us all, and whose book, The Silver Men, reminds us of individuals who stand as role models for us all. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an almost impossible task today, encapsulating the accomplishments and impact of the life and work of the phenomenal woman we honor today, Dr. Velma Newton, in just a few minutes, and encapsulating the work she has done on men and women whose histories, whose accomplishments are themselves not easy to encapsulate in a few words. So I will share with you this evening my views on her work and her biography. Professor Newton, born in 1946 in Rose Hill, St. Peter, Barbados. Dr. Velma Newton was educated at the Alexandra School and Queens College. She proceeded to the University of the West Indies in 1965 on a Barbados scholarship and graduated in 1968 with upper second class honors in history. Dr. Newton received an MA in history in 1973 for a dissertation, on British West Indian migration to Panama, 1850 to 1914, which was later published in 1984 as The Silver Men. The book has been reprinted on 3 occasions and a new edition is being prepared. It's very important to remember that this book was published in 1984. It is a time before many of the books that we call attention to today in this era. Many of the works on Panamanian West Indians did not exist when this scholar in Barbados decided to do this work. For that, she deserves to be especially recognized. As a graduate student in of course, a traditional academic department, trying to convince her committee that this is important work, that these histories must be told. And she told them. And today we continue to value the telling of that story, the battle that she fought in that department, in that discipline, to produce this book on these men and women that fought their battles here in the Isthmus of Panama. Professor Newton has also been a public servant and a law librarian. She has been the dean of the law school at the University of the West Indies in Cave Hill. And before I end, because I know, as I said, there's a lot to say here, I want to talk briefly about this book. I have read this book several times, and I trust that many of you have as well. I just want to call attention to a few particular aspects of it. The focus on primary sources, the primary source research that is evident in this book is absolutely stunning and mind-blowing. Focusing on government meeting minutes, interviews, census records, newspapers, legislative documents, official publications. She talks about the immigration laws in the West Indies that allowed these men to come or that decided that they could not come, and the impact of those laws. She goes into each and every one of the laws. She also goes into the ways that the recruiters recruited men. She reproduces actual ads from the newspapers that these men and women would have seen. She delves into interviews that were done with these individuals back during the early part when the canal was being built. So there are materials in this book that she and I were talking about last night that no longer exist anywhere but in her book and in her appendices. If you have not already read this book, please do, and we hope she is working on the second edition that will be coming soon that will have even more material, even more primary source engagement. I honor and I join SAMAAP in honoring Dr. Velma for her work and for her documentation of the work of our ancestors.
Good evening, everyone.
Buenas noches a todos.
It gives me great pleasure to be here this evening
Me da gran placer estar aquí con ustedes esta noche
and to accept this honor from SAMAAP.
y aceptar este honor de SAMAAP.
And before we do so, I would like to thank a number of persons who all those years ago assisted me in making the Silver Man a reality.
Y antes de hacer eso, quiero agradecer a muchas personas que me ayudaron hace muchos años de hacer esto una realidad.
My grandmother, first of all,
Mi abuela, primeramente,
the government of Barbados,
el gobierno de Barbados,
for a scholarship that enabled me to work for 6 years, 3 as an undergrad and 3 as a postgrad on this subject.
por una beca que me dio la oportunidad de trabajar por 6 años, 3 en mi bachillerato y 3 en mi doctorado.
Various friends around the region, in the Caribbean region and here in Panama, particularly Clara Watley, who was passed now, who took good care of me while I researched here for many months.
En personas en el Caribe, tanto en Panamá,
Clara
especialmente
Watley,
Clara Watley Page, que me apoyó bastante mientras estaba en Panamá.
and tonight I would like to thank those from Barbados. Many of them are here to see me receive this award.
Y esta noche
I want again to thank the government of Barbados for sponsoring an ad in the program which we have tonight and saluting me. They didn't have to do it, but I'm very touched by the effort.
Y nuevamente quiero agradecer al gobierno de Barbados que compró un anuncio en el programa de hoy y no tuvieron que hacerlo, pero sí lo hicieron y me apoyaron esta noche.
Finally, I have to thank many friends in Panama whom I met along the way.
Y por fin, finalmente quiero agradecer a mis amistades que conocí aquí en Panamá,
Carmela Goldberg,
Carmela Ruben,
her husband Alonso,
su esposo Alonso,
Melba,
Velma Quinn,
and some others who are not here tonight.
y a otros que no pudieron estar esta noche.
Thank you all very much.
Muchas gracias a todos. And here is a word.
Entrega la doctora Ifoma Nualco a la señora Velma Newton.
SAMAAP, in celebration of the centennial of the Panama Canal, pays tribute to Velma Newton in recognition of her excellent scholarship and documentation West Indian labor migration to Panama, 18